Hi there, it's Rebecca. Have you ever heard the expression, your greatest fear can come upon you? I learned it the hard way. Actually, it was the hard way, but it was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. Although it was one of the most frightening times of my life, but I was able to break through. I'll explain. Um, if you think about something all the time and you become obsessed by it, the law of attraction will bring it into your experience because you become it. I was a bit of a hypochondriac when I was younger. In my late teens and early 20s, I used to worry about contracting diseases that would incapacitate me maybe, or do things to me that I didn't want. It became kind of an obsession. But then one day I actually did manifest something that I had been fearing for many, many, many years. I used to go have a physical once a year and ask the doctor if he thought I had cancer, waiting to hear what he said. But for some reason, I was obsessed by it. I was very fearful of it. Well, one year when I was in my mid-20s, he said, I think you have early cancer. And he wanted to do a hysterectomy. And this was the greatest fear I have ever felt in my life when I got that diagnosis. And just thinking of the idea of surgery, it was so upsetting to me. I went numb. The other alternative, he said, was death. Well, it was my greatest fear, and it came upon me. But I had met people that had explained to me a little bit about spiritual healing. I'd already figured out that thoughts are things. We do attract into our experience things that we think about and take on as being part of our experience, to the point where there's an irresistible attraction and it will come into our experience. So I knew there must be a way to heal a body with your thoughts, but I could not figure out how to connect the dots. So I went to a healer, a very experienced healer. I trusted her as soon as I met her. And I have an open mind, so I'm open to other possibilities. And I had an instantaneous healing right there in her office. And the reason I'm telling you this story again, because I've told it before, is because I realized that our greatest fears will come upon us. Now, if I walked around terrified that I was going to be contaminated by this coronavirus thing that they're calling a pandemic, I would be paralyzed. I wouldn't be able to function. I would be obsessed by it, because I know that feeling. When I was diagnosed with this early cancer, I was not even myself. I was in an altered state of numbness until I had a spiritual healing. And I claimed my dominion, and I knew that I was sovereign, and I opened myself up to this divine energy that's always there. But it took that terrible, terrible shock for me to get there. And sometimes a bad experience can be a good thing. So if you're feeling like really, really stressed out and really depressed about the pandemic and frustrated, maybe it's because it's forcing you to look in a different direction, to see things differently. Because the reality is, perfect health is your birthright. You are sovereign. You are a divine idea. You don't have to buy into every negative story that comes around and absorb it and make you feel horrible. It's just not worth it. Life is a classroom, and maybe this is one of the biggest lessons we'll see in our generation, because it's certainly big, it's being global. And it's not what's happening, it's how you perceive it. If you want to see perfection, change your perception is my motto. And you can always look at things in a different way.